So yeah, picking up where I left off. I ended up applying for unemployment because my job ended up getting fucking transferred to another company. Like, and then we were supposed to re-interview for our jobs, and they really tried to make it seem like we were going to keep it. No, I was done. I was done. I didn't even know. The only reason why, damn it, this conditioner is oily, so the oils stick behind. Well, anyways, I didn't even know that the job was closing. I got no formal letter, no notification, no nothing. I found out from another coworker that the everything was being shut down again. This is my second buyout, by the way, because the first buyout was at a different location that was actually closer to where I was, so walking home there wasn't so bad. And this one was further away, but like still within walking distance. So, yeah. And yeah. Fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm running out of breath now. I'm like rushing this out. So yeah, um, I didn't know anything about the buyout. I need to fucking make sure the sun isn't gonna get my phone. There we go. So yeah, I was just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do anything. They didn't send me no formal letters, and it turns out like the pharmacist pretty much ran away. Like the head pharmacist pretty much ran away before the thing even happened. After letting everybody know that it was happening, I like would get screenshots and messages from people that were there, and I was just like, wow, that's fucked up. And I was like, fuck it, I give up. And it took me months to actually apply for unemployment because I was so overwhelmed. Like, this was my first time being an actual I gave birth to these children mother, and newborns are fucking scary. And I used to actually do this shit at 8. I handled I was stressed with myself and over judging myself because I was just like, how the hell did I easily handle a newborn at 8 years old, and I am terrified to even touch it at freaking 27. That makes no sense. And I'm like, damn, I really fucked myself up. And then, you know, the obvious guilt over the body changes that happen because now I'm just like, I'll never be normal again. And then, like, that guilt that you get when you kind of almost forget that you have a whole child that is dependent on you. Because it's just like, oh yeah, I have a baby. Like, I have a whole, like, life form that requires my body for sustenance. This is insane. Also, by the way, I had preeclampsia. I forgot to mention that part. Yeah, it turns out when I went into the place to be induced because I told the doctor I couldn't wait till the due date. Um, I had preeclampsia. Apparently, my fucking like all of my limbs were swollen. There was no doubt about that for most of the end of the pregnancy, and my blood pressure was apparently so fucking high they had to put me on fucking magnesium. That shit was absolute garbage. I hated it. It made me feel absolutely crappy. I had to pee all the damn time, so I had to hit a call button for somebody to come in and bring a goddamn bedpan for me to pee in until I could get a freaking. They should have just put the fucking catheter in because it was a nightmare. I was sitting there in that bed holding my freaking pee for long periods of time because it's just like I have to wait for somebody to bring something for me to pee in because I can't get out of the bed because now I'm on this fucking medication that makes me feel like absolute garbage. And it's depressing me even more than I already am. And then after giving birth, screaming almost, but I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have time to take fucking birthing classes because I was like, I either take the birthing classes or I get money from my job. And I was so fucking exhausted. I couldn't figure out how to plan it because it was on a different day than I already asked off. And she wasn't adhering to the days that I had asked for off anyway. There were some days I was going to my appointment and then going right into freaking work. I was fucking exhausted. Like, I can't explain the level of exhaustion. It was like my soul was ripped to shreds and then expected to continue performing while also taking host in a freaking body and expected to perform that too. I was tired down to the very fibers of creation. And after having the kid, postpartum depression, no help because, transportation was an issue because neither of us actually had our driver's licenses. We were Ubering everywhere or getting rides from friends and paying them for, their services because I don't like favors. And, yeah. I hate feeling like I owe people anything because of the way I grew up. So I always tried to make sure that they got some kind of compensation. And so, yeah, there was no point. I was actually alone with my newborn for 2 months. And like completely alone. Nobody visited me. Nobody was in the house with me because the father was in the military and had to go away for 2 months on some COVID related military thing. And I was so broken because I felt guilty. I felt like the trashiest person on the planet because I was feeling all kinds of different things at the same time. And a lot of it was like, I'm ruined. I'm ruined. Like, my life is over. And I shouldn't have done this because now I have no choice but to keep going. And if I had known that this was how I would feel after, I would have ended it before I got to this point. Because now, if something happens to me, what happens to her? And, she was like the most beautiful and precious thing, and I never felt anything bad towards her. But I felt guilty for feeling bad towards like what having her did to my body. Forever changed because I was cut when I had her, and the afterbirth experience feels like death. It feels like death. And I've always had an issue. I've always been uncomfortable around death because it feels like it takes more than the life that it has claimed when you are in the presence of death. Like it's still taking. Like there's just this energy of like, I can't say negativity because it doesn't quite describe it, but like void, like a black hole. Like death is a black hole. If you have a dead thing in the house or the room, especially like something with blood in it specifically, it takes from the room continuously. And depending on how big it is, it takes more. That's what death would feel like to me most of my life. So I always like was afraid of it because it just felt like it was taking, just continuously taking. So yeah.